friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I am part of a collaboration with Rachel Stewart from Spend Smart, Live Happy, and I'm going to be posting her channel right up here and in the end cards at the end of this video. So be sure to go check her channel out. Really great, vibrant lady. Just love her. Lots of great information, wonderful channel. I think you'll really enjoy her. All right, now before I get started on the hummus recipe, I need to share with you that it's probably been about 15 years since I've made it. So right here on camera is going to be the first time in many years I've made it, but I used to make it at least on a weekly basis. And I have just a basic recipe that I used, and I'll be starting with that, and then I'll also be experimenting on camera, like I also like to do, with something new I want to add, just to try to make something different, and I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out. This is all my own ideas, so we'll see how it works out, and I'm really anxious to try it because it's been a long time. So let's get started on the recipe. Now, your basic recipe for hummus is always going to involve tahini, and here's the brand I'm using, Kavala, and I will link to this below, and then your chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans, and I will also link to these below. I was able to find these on the Subscribe and Save at Amazon. Anytime I can get anything on Subscribe and Save, it's just great because you can save up to 15% more buying it through there. So if you haven't check that out, look at Subscribe and Save on Amazon, and it's just a great program. I love it. So those are the two main ingredients you're going to need for your hummus, and the tahini can be one of the more difficult ones to find, but nowadays it's a lot more simple than it was 15 years ago when I was making this. So, but you can look at the link on Amazon. You can also check if you have any health food stores. Most likely you should be able to find some there. And what tahini is, in case you don't know, is sesame paste. Sort of like you have peanut butter. This is just ground sesame. And what you will find is when you open up your jar, your container, it's going to be very, very oily on top. Now, I've already blended this, so it's pretty smooth right now. Okay, so you can see how smooth that looks. That's how it should look. Now, what I did to get this blended up really good was, and I used to have a heck of a time back in the day because they didn't have stick blenders, or if they did, I didn't know anything about them. You know, just trying to blend it with a knife or a fork, but I just took my immersion blender and slowly stuck it down into the jar, and quick and easy, and it got it very smooth, just the right consistency for what I need. Now, I'll be using my Oster blender. I've always loved my Oster blender. I've used this for making hummus and every, you know, even vegan cheese. I used to, back when I was doing the vegan thing, I used to use this for making my vegan cheese, and it's just been a great blender. But you may have better results with the fancier, really expensive ones. However, I'm the kind of person where I'd rather stick to the $20, $30 blender that I know will last me and has lasted me years. And it works. So what I have in this container here, in my glass lock, snap lock, whatever it's called, Snapware container, and I'll link to these below. I love these things, are the chickpeas that I recently cooked up. I got them all cooked up yesterday. I soaked them the day before yesterday, and then I cooked them up yesterday, and so they are ready to go. And I'm leaving some of the liquid in there, and you'll see why here in a minute. Now, what I need is, if you're buying them by the cans, you can use 2 cans or 3 cups of your cooked chickpeas. Obviously, I'm going to prefer to do it this way and not use canned chickpeas. Canned obviously is easier, but this, you know what you're getting. It's going to be a little healthier for you. Okay, so 3 cups. And then for the tahini, you're going to want a ½ cup of that. So let me go ahead and get ½ cup in here. Fill my cup halfway up. This stuff is a lot easier to work with than the tahini I used to use years ago. And I'm just going to pour. I just like to put all of my ingredients right into the blender. So for making the basic, more traditional hummus recipe, there are a few more key ingredients you're going to want on hand. And one of those is the cumin, and then some lemon juice, and then of course some salt and some garlic. So let's start with the garlic. Your garlic, my recipe that I wrote down years ago said 3 cloves, but I always used more than that. And what I have here in my jar is my garlic from my garden from this last year that I fermented. I've got a couple of jars of these. And if you want to know how to ferment your own garlic, you can go ahead and check out my video on that right up here. I'm just going to put a whole spoonful because we like lots of garlic. I'll throw in a little bit more. Lots of garlic. Oh, so good. And it's so good for you, especially homegrown and fermented to boot. And then for the cumin, you want about 2 teaspoons approximately. So in my hand, whoop, that's actually about 2 teaspoons right there in my hand already. And I'll put in another pinch. But 2 teaspoons is the traditional amount for this, or the basic amount. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And then for your lemon juice, you need a 1/3 cup. And I've got this good organic Santa Cruz lemon juice. You can find this, I'll link to it on Amazon below. You can also find it, if you're looking for a really good price, you can find it on Walmart. My local store actually carries it for a decent price. Okay, so then when you go to blend your tahini, what I like to do is start as is and see how well it's going to blend. And then from that point, you can add a little bit more water as you go. If it needs more as it's blending, you might find that it does. And like my recipe says, a 1/4 cup or more of water. But since I leave some of the the cooking water in there with the garbanzo beans, that might be enough. We'll see what happens. So my hummus is all blended up, and I'm just going to put it in my bowl. And I will worry later about scraping all the rest of this out so you don't have to watch me do all this. And this tastes amazing as is. So it's kind of tempting to just want to leave it, and I'll show you how it looks. And I didn't need to add any more water to it. It was plenty wet just as it is. Now, if you want it thicker, you just cut back on your water, or you can do what I'm going to do next, and that is add some dried ingredients that will help soak up the extra moisture. And that is, this is one of the things I'm going to try, adding in some of my mixed greens blend, just to give us another reason to get more of these wonderful greens into our diet. And even though I put in all that garlic, we like lots of garlic, so I figure I'll go ahead and throw in another tablespoon of some dried granulated garlic and mix that in. And to add a kick of spice, some red pepper flakes, 1 to 2 tablespoons. And then a new spice new to me spice I've been working with, which should blend very well with hummus, is the sumac. And it's kind of got a citrusy flavor to it, so I think it would taste wonderful in it. And that's the color. It's kind of almost a burgundy color. It has a wonderful flavor. So I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of that. This is where I need my white lab coat on, because this is me experimenting. Trying new flavors and different things in there, just to add more goodness. And then another thing I want to add are my homegrown, home-dried tomatoes. I'll put a handful of those in there. Typically this is eaten with crackers and things like that. And I will be making some homemade multi-grain and seed crackers today. I probably won't shoot that video today, but eventually I will be shooting a video. I got a couple more cracker recipes I'd like to share with you. I do have the gluten-free one that I got from Wanda, and I'll post a recipe to that right up there, or the video. But I have a couple of my own recipes I'd like to share with you eventually down the road, and that will be one of the ones I make today. I just don't think I'll make a video of it today. I might, we'll see. But just be watching for it down the road. Now, one of the other things I thought would be good was some black olives. And so I don't want whole olives in there, but I didn't want them processed up smooth like I would do in the blender. So I'm going to throw a couple handfuls into my little hand processor here. just give it a few rotations. Oh, I'll just do a few more. This is mostly good. We'll just do about 3 more. There, perfect. There's the size I was looking for. And we'll throw those in there. So we're going to have a black olive and tomato hummus with lots of garlic. And then the addition of the greens and the red pepper flakes, which to me, it doesn't look like there's enough red pepper flakes in there. So I will put some more. I should be able to see some more red in there. And I think I'll put some more tomatoes as well. Now, one thing about hummus, as with many other types of dishes, and especially when you're using dehydrated things in it, it's best to let it sit for a while and just let all the flavors blend. Hummus always seems to taste best the next day. Kind of like spaghetti sauce or anything like that you cook and then you just let it set and then just all the flavors. Tiramisu is the same way if you've never made tiramisu. In fact, the first tiramisu I ever had was my own homemade tiramisu because I was determined I was going to try it and I never could find it to see what it tastes like, so I just had to make my own. Maybe I'll do a video on that someday too. Alright, so there we have it. Some black olive and tomato hummus with a kick. And we're going to give it a taste and see what I think. Alright, so I took a taste of it and it is awesome. I'm loving the olives in there. I might even think of adding some more olives to it, but I've got a lot of dip here as it is. The tomatoes actually still need some more time to sit in it. They're a little too chewy right now. I could have soaked them first, but I know there was plenty of liquid in here that once I let it sit for a while, even just 15 minutes to an hour, they're going to get nice and soft and have a better texture, but the flavor is really good. So I'm going to have to get busy and make some crackers to go with this. I hope you enjoyed that and that you'll give it a try and maybe try mixing it up and add some of your own ingredients and see what you think. I would suggest if you've never had hummus or never made it before, start with the basic recipe that I showed you and then see what you think. And then from there, you can add whatever kind of herbs and spices you want to make it suit your needs. I mean, there's so many different ways you could go with hummus, and it's really great. So again, please do not forget to go check out Rachel's channel, linking to her to the end here and up here as well. And yeah, we're part of this collaboration, and I'm really glad that she asked me to be a part. Thank you, Rachel. Hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.